Hopefully everybody is doing great, feeling good, feeling great. Basically, we're going to talk about a few things that are trending. One of those things being, what's the guy named? Christian Kirk and what Jimmy Kimmel said. And Jimmy Kimmel is now coming back on what, Tuesday or Wednesday. And so I'm really hoping that he did not do an apology, that he won't do an apology, a live apology. I'm hoping that he's going to stand 10 toes because he didn't say nothing wrong about that, man. And I feel like they're putting stipulations on things and trying to create someone to be a hero when they were not. So that's not cool. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but honestly, I feel like right is right and wrong is wrong. And I don't stand for hatred of any kind, bigotry. I don't stand for people that think that they're superior or racism or even colors at that. So, yeah. But we will be tuning in to see what Jimmy Kimmel has to say. And again, hopefully there will be no apologies because the man didn't do no wrong. So he's going to be apologizing for nothing. Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Man, it would have been so good, but I guess we'll just have to wait for a little bit. Besides that, y'all listen to Cardi B's album? Did anybody listen to the album? It's been out since Friday. You should have formed a realistic, honest opinion by now, and not an opinion where the album dropped at midnight and by 12:17 a.m. you're already writing a dissertation. I think that that's really whack. I think that that is unfair, and I think that that is being a hater. And of course, majority of the posts that we've seen, like on Twitter and on Threads, and yeah, it's pretty much where majority of the hate came from Nicki Minaj fans. I don't understand this culture of fandom that we live in now, the whole stan culture or whatever the case may be. I kind of wish that we went back to the days where we only knew the artists through their music, and like when we didn't have access to them and we didn't get to know, like, I guess just who they are, whatever the case may be, but we just lived through the music and that was enough, because now people feel obligated to try to tear one down in order to build another up, or feel like they have a first class seat in somebody's life and they get to say whatever and be very disrespectful, be hurtful, and just say things that are untrue or not fair. And it's just weird behavior, especially when you're an adult. I mean, it's bad enough if there's kids, but honestly, it's adults. It's like it's millennials and some Gen Zs who are adults. And it's really weird that you sit on social media and you talk negative about other adults who you don't even know and they don't know you. That's the weirdest thing to me. But anyway, listening to the album, honest opinion, great album. I love the fact that Cardi she basically is giving more than just the usual. You know what I mean? Like, she's stepping out of her element. She got a little pop on there. She got a Jeezy vibe on there. She's storytelling. There's intimacy, there's vulnerability, and it just shows her overall artistry. And I think artistry is important when you're doing an album because you don't want the same thing on an album. I think that we get tired of hearing the same sound in the same song, so it's important to be creative. You know, play around with the music. one person that's good at doing that is Beyonce. I think we all know that she's good at doing that. Chris Brown's good at playing around with the music sometimes, because lately a lot of his stuff sounds the same. But Usher is also good, and it's taking a chance. And not everybody succeeds in taking a chance, but if you're stuck in just one genre of just thinking that this is the only way that I'll sell records, you limit yourself of having a bigger fan base. And so I think that with like Bodega Baddie, and then you got what's it, Pick Me Up by with Selena Gomez on there. You have the songs with Summer Walker, and then you have her vulnerable songs, and then you have her hard songs where she's just talking her shit or whatever. It's definitely a vibe. And if you're sitting in the music, like I said before, digesting the music, listening to it on a loudspeaker, like in your car, and just so you're really feeling it and you're really tuned into what's going on, then you could form a valid opinion. But if you rolled over at midnight, turned your phone on iTunes or Apple Music or whatever the case may be, played some songs and was like, no, I don't like it, and just was pressing or whatever the case may be, you didn't give it a full listen. You wasn't able to really grasp and take in the music and understand the artistry of what's going on in the storytelling, the metaphors, the anger in some of it, the softness, the disappointment, the heartbreak, the love, the ups, the downs. It's a roller coaster ride. And I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy artistry. I enjoy when someone is passionate about what they've done and what they're putting out. And I think this album is a passionate album of hers. No, we don't need her to sound like nobody else except for her. And even those of them that think it's okay to talk about the way that she talks. Oh, she don't even know English like that. Like some of the stuff. You only know one language. At least she knows two. You know what I mean? Like some people can't even sit in a Spanish class for one day and take that in because they don't have the patience to learn. So at least she even has taken the opportunity to learn the English language. And so she's dual. A lot of people aren't dual. Like I teach at a French immersion school. And imagine, being a full-grown adult, you don't know any French, but then you have these babies who come in and they're learning it, and by fifth grade, they're fluent in French. Like, I think that that's an amazing thing. And so I think we have to be very careful of just being so judgmental. I think judgmental says a lot about where you are in your life, and we all know the saying, misery loves company. But listen to the album for yourself. Don't allow haters, judgmental people, don't allow them to taint, like, good music. Don't allow them to take good artistry. And that's just my opinion. And if you don't like something, I said this before, if you don't like somebody's song or their music, simply don't listen. But do not let that be the reason why you say you don't like the person. If you don't even know the person and you're saying that you don't like this person, that's a little weird. It's weird to just immediately say you don't like someone. But if their actions and their behavior have given you a reason, they're not going to understand you just being like, no, I'm good. Because there is a certain someone who is a rapper whose actions and behavior have given me a reason to not like them, and I don't support them, but I also don't talk bad about them. I'm not a nasty person. I'm not a hateful person. I just simply don't listen. You know what I mean? I feel like based on this individual's actions and behavior, time and time and time again, that they're just not a good person. And for me, my spirit discerns. I have the spirit of discernment of just good energy and good people, and that's just what I'm drawn to. And so yeah, Cardi's a Libra. I'm a Libra. I feel like, there's an energy thing there. And just outside of that, she's just a fun person in general. But yeah, to me, the album go hard. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody ain't got to agree, but my personal opinion. Moving right along, I definitely want to talk about, so there's two great movies that came out this year, right? One is Sinners. I don't know if anybody's seen Sinners, but I thought it was an amazing movie. And then the other one is Him, which just came out on Friday. And both of these movies have a deeper message and a deeper meaning, and there's a lot of foreshadowing. And within the foreshadowing, it gives away what the movie is about. But the problem is, a lot of people are not good with foreshadowing or comprehension, critical thinking, or just trying to figure things out. They want it to be loud and clear. They want it to be front and center. They want it to just jump out in their face. This is what the movie is about. This is what all the signs were about. But that takes away from the excitement and the overall creativity of the project. Him was a very good movie. I've seen a whole lot of dissertations, like I like to call them, where people are talking about how much they didn't like it and why they didn't like it. Um, and one of the things that I really dislike that I seen is someone's TikTok, and she's like walking out the theater, out the front door of the movie theater. She's like, I just walked out of Him. That movie is demonic. Ma'am, were you not paying attention to the movie? Pretty much what the movie is telling you is there's so many people that want to be, the top player in sports, right? Like, let's just use football because that's what the movie is about. Everybody wants to be the man. You want to be the face of the franchise. So a lot of these players, they work very hard to be the face of the franchise. Some of them start this work ethic from Little League because you have parents that are grooming you to be the face of somebody's franchise. And so they'll spend 40 days and 40 nights with you in practices, watching tapes, training, putting you different camps, and all these other things. And so that is basically sacrificing your mind, body, soul to this game, because everything is about the game. And so in the movie, everything is about the game from when he's young until he gets older. And what happens is things come with sacrifice, right? So like if you're sacrificing yourself to something, you're going to eventually either lose something or you will take something in. And within the movie, not only is he losing something, but he's also taking something in. And I'm a spiritual person. I believe in spirituality. And so I don't think that everything has to be labeled demonic. I think that the message with a lot of these movies is you got to be very careful of your ask. You got to be very careful of what you think your life should be and what it requires to get there. Because sometimes you will dig a hole deep enough for yourself to get to where you want to be at, but you're also sacrificing every time that you are digging until you've given up something or you've taken in something. So it's as if you've given up who you are and your spirit, and you've taken in something else so that you can be the great. And I think we see this, or we hear about it a lot in the entertainment business, as far as Illuminati this and all these things, and how, people have gotten to where they are. A lot of that talk I just don't like, because people only like to associate that talk with Black people, unfortunately, as if we can't have a blood, sweat, and tears work ethic to get to where we are today. And in that movie, he did have the blood, sweat, and tears, but something traumatic happened to him, which shifted him, and then things started to happen without his consent and without him being aware of these things happening, which was changing him. And if you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. And so and then there are signs of these changes happening. And just besides that, there are these sacrifices that are happening. And he's not understanding that he's sacrificing himself so that he can be the face of a franchise that is pretty much a cult. And when you think about Stan, right? Stan nature, Stans. Stans are supposed to be super fans, but they're people that are crazy. They think that, for one, these people know them personally, and so they will attack you, and they're the people that write the dissertations to be nasty toward the other people. Think about Nicki Minaj fans. Those are stans. Some of them are stans, and some of them are very nasty. And so in this movie, the stans are like a cult. And so again, when you think of a cult, they're not the nicest people. And this organization gives cult vibes, just from their actions and their behavior. And again, I'm trying not to get the movie away because I really want people to go and watch him so that you can kind of create your own interpretation of it and understand where I'm coming from when I say the movie isn't demonic and it's also not a terrible movie. It's a movie with a bigger message. And you'll miss the message if you're stuck on certain things because you're not getting what you want right away in the movie. I feel like from the beginning to the end, I was tuned in. Nothing in that movie made me feel like, oh, this is a terrible movie. For one, Marlon Wayans acted his ass off. Man, like, if you've seen Training Day and you've seen how Denzel pulled off that character and how he would snap from being like passive to aggressive, or he was nice, nasty. He was in these highs and lows. This was Marlon Wayans, and in him, like the way that he showed up, fire. Like all of his scenes were just amazing, and it really makes you feel like, okay, this man deserved his Oscar because it's that good. And then Tariq, he also did an amazing job. So I mean, I wouldn't be mad if both of them got nominated for, supporting actor, lead actor, whatever the case may be. The movie is a good movie, and I say go see the movie, and let's get out of this whole everything got to be demonic, and I just cannot. It's like, come on, y'all are not holier than thou. Like, some of y'all do demonic stuff at your crib every single day, or it can be deemed demonic every single day. Your actions and behavior, your whole attitude. There's a lot of things that we can associate with being demonic, but walking out of a movie because you see some imagery that makes you feel like, oh, this is the devil, like, you're missing the point of the movie. And that's what the problem is. The bigger picture of the movie is telling you, be careful of what you ask for and what you sacrifice, because you just might get it. But at the same time, within that sacrifice, what are you sacrificing to get it? Who are you now becoming so that you can be the face of the franchise? So that you can be the head in charge, or whoever in charge. But yeah, go see him. Him is a good movie. Again, I really enjoyed him. So if you've seen it, say something about it. But I'm not sure if many people have seen it, because even when I posted about it, there wasn't too many people that said that they seen the movie. But I thought it was really good. Moving right along, I wanted to get like people's perspective on like reality TV, only because I feel like every reality TV show that comes out is female driven, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's only like women driven, and I wonder why. I wonder why there isn't a reality TV show that has, men on there, men that, because there's a lot of us that, maybe we're single dads, we're full-time single dads, but we're still educated and we're successful. We live a pretty good life. Or there's some, that are businessmen, and, they're well off and they're doing good. And then you have, I think that there is a audience that will love to see reality TV based around men in that friendship group, or what that looks like. Because we have the Housewives, and we have the Basketball Wives, and we have all these other shows that are just women, which is cool, but it's like, why isn't anyone investing in bringing a show that shows, men and how we tackle situations and circumstances, and how we maneuver through, family and friends and work and struggle and ups and downs and highs and lows and relationships. setbacks and, you know, trials and tribulations and just all those things, I think it'll be very helpful. Because the one thing that I get from like reality TV is it gives you a different type of lens to and if you pay attention, you sometimes can see yourself in some of these people and how they deal with situations opposed to how you deal with them, how you show up in your friend group, how your friend group shows up, you know, when it to you, and how you navigate through those things. And I think that that's okay. I think that that's cool. But what I don't like is it makes it seem as if it's only like women who have these relationships. And yeah, I would really love for there to be a reality show that is geared toward, you know, men and really shows us how to. I think it'd be healthy because it'll show other men how to have emotional intelligence. Number one, again, how to navigate through their friend group because believe it or not, we be having issues, friendship issues too. Like we go through some things with friends and or family, and sometimes it isn't easy. You know, sometimes it is tough. Sometimes we hold a whole lot of things in because we feel like there's no outlet. And that's not excuse for anybody to hold anything in or to be violent, because I'm a huge advocate of mental health and making sure that you tap into, you know, getting a therapist if you need a therapist, unpacking whatever that is, and healing whatever needs to be healed. But it'd be great to see that on, you know, on TV. It'd be great to see because it's inspires others. Women are inspired by some of these shows, so I think that men can be inspired by some shows as well. So that's something that I would love to see happen. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but you know, one of the main networks that have all the shows is Bravo. I would love to have like a sit down with Andy and just really pitch a show. I have some people in mind too, but really like pitch a show that I think that would be successful and people will want to watch it. So yeah, that's my reality. And another thing, like, how do y'all feel about like? I feel like there's always a double standard when it comes to everything. Like, it's almost like men can't do nothing. Like, you can't watch this show. You can't listen to this music. You can't do this. You can't go there. It's just like, sometimes it feels exhausting because we now live in a world where everybody want to label somebody something, even if that's not who they are, and they just been, no, just, there's not a one size fits all at the end of the day. I just put it that way. It's not a one size fits all. I think we come in different sizes, shapes, forms, and as long as you know, standing in your truth and who you are as a whole man, and that's all that matters. But yeah, but that's my thing when it comes to reality TV. I think that there should be a male driven show. What's your thoughts on that, if you have any? And another thing I wanted to talk about is y'all listen to Teyana Taylor's album. That's another great album of storytelling where you get the lows and then it becomes the highs. I really love, again, when you can, you know, follow the story and kind of lose yourself in the music, relate to some of the songs, and really sit in some of them where you have to like, let me bring this back. Let me replay this. Cause she got some songs in there too where you got to replay it and just really sit in it and digest it. But you can hear that this album was therapy for her, just like Cardi's album was therapy for her. That these albums were therapeutic. Same with like Beyonce's Lemonade, that was therapy for her. Usher, even though Confessions wasn't his story, I feel like he kind of started what therapy through music is because that was JD's story. And so maybe, you know, writing those songs was therapy for him and of course Usher performing them. But if you really listen to, you know, this music, like, you know, Teyana Taylor's album, you can hear the journey. Like, you can hear the struggle, you can hear the hurt, you can hear the pain, but then you can hear like the resilience, you can hear the freedom, you can hear the refreshness, like, okay, I'm renewed, I'm rejuvenated, I'm revived. I am not only back to myself, but a better version of myself because of this. And I think that it's amazing that one thing that we have in common is in relationships, we can tend to lose ourselves in relationships, which is why I tell people all the time who swear that they want to be in a relationship or whatever the case might be. I always tell them, you know how much peace there is in being single? And I think that that's something that people miss because they are so stuck on what they think everybody else has, or what they see on social media, or what they see on TV. And then they sometimes convince themselves that they're alone, or that they're lonely. My bad, because you can be alone but not lonely. Those are two different things. But what you don't realize is you shift yourself when you get in a relationship. And when you become attached to somebody, now you're playing with this. And when you start playing with this, you start to shift, right? So now your peace is disturbed, which is why I say there's so much peace in being single, because when you're single, mind, body, soul, spirit, and heart is in peace. You're living in a different type of frequency to where you have not been tainted at all. No one has come into your life and shifted anything about you. No one has come and tweaked anything. Like, you're whole at this point. When you get in a relationship, it always starts off with a honeymoon stage and everything seems great. But then there comes those ups and those downs, which starts to shift you. Things start to happen, which starts to shift you. Let it be a relationship where it becomes toxic, or there's, serious betrayal, or you feel violated, or serious disrespect and in violence, which is something that some people have, experienced. But all those things start to shift your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. And so when that happens, you now go through this process because you want to get away from this person. Like, think about Escape Room in Teyana Taylor's album. You will give grace, come back. I forgive you, you come back. The more years you put on it, the harder it becomes to escape a situation. And side note, one thing that I do love is when you do get out that situation and you look at like a Teyana Taylor and you look at who else has done really well. I guess we can use Sierra, and there's one more. I've seen a lot of girls talk about like Cash Doll, and of course they've talked about Cardi B as well. But you see them, and you see them with someone who lives a soft life. It's okay for men to live a soft life, and it's okay for you to want a man that lives a soft life, because I think that there is a lot of safety in that. I think that there's a lot of security in that, and I think that there's a lot of peace in that. And so why wouldn't you want safety, security, and peace? And I can't understand for the life of me, and I said this on my YouTube channel a while ago, I don't understand why women love a challenge. Why, when you see a challenge coming, you run toward it instead of away from it. All of the signs can be there, but you running head first toward the challenge. And then you wonder why things end up the way that they do, because you seen the challenge and you embraced it, because it came packaged well. But everything that look good ain't good for you, because there's a whole lot of challenges, right? Packaged as good men, or should I say, packaged as fine men, or packaged as because they got all this money, they can take care of me, men. But that comes with a price. And sometimes that price is your peace. Sometimes that price is your mind, your body. You're sacrificing yourself for this individual. And that becomes detrimental to you and your growth and you living your best life and you being whole and living in peace and not in pieces. And so through this music, if you're listening to these people's stories, you're kind of hearing, okay, this is what I thought I was getting, but I ended up getting this. And I tried to work through this. And the more I tried to work through this, the worse it got. Which is why I say, when do you get to a point where it's a one and done? Like after your first encounter, it went well, it seemed like it was going good, and then it went bad, and there's all these reasons why it went bad, and there was all these red flags that you recognized that was there, but you tried to make those red flags green, and you seen this potential, and you're like, oh, he has so much potential, and I'm just going, I care about him. He just acted out of character. I know that he really loves me. All these excuses, right? So you're getting sucked in more and more and more, and then boom. So now you're at a point years later where you have finally decided to walk away. It was hard. It took a lot of years out of you. Took some of your good years, changed and shifted you, left you with some trauma, some baggage, and now this is just where you're at. The only way to keep from repeating that behavior, one, you got to heal. And a lot of times people don't heal. What they do is they just go into the next relationship without healing. That I will never understand. Or I can understand if you're speaking to someone and they're helping you heal, right? And maybe you're starting to date this person because they do have all of these green flags that make you feel good, that are helping you let your guard down and unpack whatever this is. And now you're also seeing, the difference. Now you can recognize the difference in what goodness looks like. Because one thing about adversity is adversity is supposed to come into our lives to help prepare us for the good so that we recognize it when it comes. And a lot of times we don't recognize it because we haven't done the work. So it's like, yeah, you had the adversity, but what work did you do after the fact so that you can prepare yourself for what's good to come? So when you're able to do that and somebody does come into your life, now you're able to really recognize who and what is for you. It's no longer about, oh, it looks good, it feels good, because you got to remember everything that look good and feel good ain't good for you, right? So it's about mental and emotional growth and intelligence and maturity and who they are as a person, the morals, the values, the substance, the standards. Spirituality is important. I believe that all these things go together. And I honestly believe that every single adult at one point in life and or ongoing, even it can be on and off, needs therapy. That's just what it is, because there's a lot to unpack. We all have backgrounds that may have influenced who we are, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for who we become. So just because of where you were at, you still endured some stuff, went through some stuff. It could have been childhood trauma. It could have been teenage trauma. It could have been when you were a young adult. It could have been in your mid 30s. It could be your 40s. Whatever the case may be, we've experienced some things that we may need to unpack, some things that we may need to drop off so that we can be light, number one, and show up as the best version of ourselves with no baggage. And so when you're able to do the life work and reach some point of emotional completion, I believe now you're at a point where the next person that comes into your life, it's a one and done, meaning you got one time to show me. Like, if you was in a violent situation before, you make it clear of your non-negotiables. You have one time to show me that you can be aggressive and violent toward me, and this relationship is over. And you have to be serious about that. You have to stand in that, because been there, done that. Why would I repeat the same cycle? And what I'm seeing is women, even in my life, who are repeating the same cycle. And I have these conversations with them all the time, and I'm like, you're better than that. So what's the fear? What is the fear that's keeping you in a situation where you know he's not good for you? You know you're not completely happy. What is the fear there? And some of them have convinced themselves that this is as good as it gets. Some of them with kids have convinced themselves, who else is going to want me and I have these kids? Others have convinced themselves that they don't want to be lonely. And that's like heartbreaking. You know, having these conversations and really trying to show up in a supportive way and be there, that's tough to hear, because I am someone that gives honesty with compassion. I would never beat you down, talk at you, tear you down, but I'm here to be honest with compassion. I want to make sure that you are living a healthy life, mind, body, soul, and spirit, and I want you to be honest with me. And so we have these heart-to-hearts, and I try to unpack what that is, what that fear is, because fear keeps a lot of people in situations that they know aren't conducive for their well-being. And now we're living in a day and age where we have access to what that looks like when you're staying with someone who isn't good for you, and how far it can get, because you've had warning after warning. You know, you've experienced the violence, you experienced all of these things. You may have called the police one time or two, and then, you know, he come crying or whatever the case may be, and you open the door back. But what we are seeing is women losing their lives. And so that's the conversation that I have with the women in my family is, this isn't a game. You know, one involving us sometimes can be dangerous because we're showing up, we're upset, and you end up getting right back with them. So then that's not fair to us. So even as the men, we have to be mindful and use our emotional intelligence and not be impulsive and just react and respond, right? We got to be very careful, because you can put yourself in a dangerous situation. But I'm always going to fight for like the freedom. I'm always going to fight for wanting, you know, people that are in situations that aren't healthy for them to see what freedom is. Because what's on the other side of fear is freedom. And a lot of times people can't get there because they're stuck in that fear, and they've made fear comfortable. They've made chaos comfortable. They've made toxicity comfortable, you know, and I think that that is a dangerous thing. And so these are the conversations that I have with, you know, with women in general, because I'm like, hey, I grew up in a household where I watched some things that I should not have been exposed to, but also it should not have happened. And I used to react because I'm like, you know, that's my mama, so I'm gonna react and try to do what I can, but I can only do so much. I mean, I'm a kid. But at the same time, I knew that it wasn't right. I knew the treatment wasn't right. I knew what I would hear wasn't right. And because the way that I felt and what I seen, I never wanted to be exposed to those things or go through those things or have any of my friends, you know, or my sister or my sisters or my cousins or anybody go through those things either. So I'm very intentional when it comes to that, about the way that I show up in those situations and circumstances. So I say this to say, listen to those albums, listen to the messages, and understand that you are stronger, that you do have resilience, and you get to expect what you accept. And you should only accept great things because you have the right to accept great things. All of us have the right to accept great things. And that's just what I advocate for, it's just great things in general. So that's just some of what I want to talk about tonight. I could go on for 4 days and 4 nights because I'll be having like stuff just comes. And like on my YouTube channel, I'm trying to get away from talking about certain things, but I want to be able to create dialogue that is important and it has substance and there's value there because you never know who's listening, right? And of course, we're gonna have some fun and be creative and all these things. But the goal is to create a series here on TikTok where it's informative, it's empowering, it's educational, but it's also entertaining and it's fun. And I'll be doing it with my brother Justin. Then we're gonna start it next Monday, I believe. We're gonna have like a Monday night series where we talk about cultural things, hot topics, and entertainment, music, television, movies. Some stuff may be personal, some stuff may not. Friendships, relationships, just any and everything that you can think of, because each one teach one, and I feel that some of us have experiences and we have lifelong lessons that we have learned and grown from them, and we use these now as tools of knowledge to empower others to be the best that they can be. And that's just who I am. And this is another reason why I host wellness retreats, because I've done the work, I have the educational background, I have the experience, and so I know how to create a safe space that allows people to either heal, unpack so that they can start the healing process, or just be able to be in a space where they can be vulnerable enough to not only tell their story, but get the advice that they need, get the care that they need, get the therapy that they need, in a different location, because you can't always heal in the same environment that got you sick, right? And so I believe in creating a space that allows you to let go and to trust the process. And within trusting the process, we have had some amazing stories of growth, of healing. And so, yeah, it's a good thing. This would be my 4th annual wellness retreat, going down April 4th through the 8th in Costa Rica. And it's going to be an amazing experience. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we get some more people, some newcomers. I'm always welcoming newcomers. We've been to Thailand 2 times, and that was an amazing time. We've been to Dominican Republic, and now we are doing Costa Rica. So it's the wellness retreat. Make sure y'all check it out. Look for information, inquire about information. I've started sending out package rates already, and the packages kind of are formed for where you're flying out of, because people aren't all flying out of the same location, so the flight is going to be different. But yeah, this is what it's all about. So again, look for us on Mondays, Monday evening, starting next Monday, I think 8 p.m. We're going to start our series where we just talk about things that are important, things that are substantial to mind, body, soul, spirit, health, but also entertainment, culture, friends, family, relationships, all the above. But that's my time, y'all. Be blessed. Take care of yourself and each other. Till next time, I will see y'all probably tomorrow. I might hop in here tomorrow, and then the next day, and up until Monday, just to build some momentum so that we can get people coming into our live series on Mondays. All right. So God bless y'all.